Let me talk.
Go.
Hi, everybody. I'm John Flynn, Sr. My son to my left is John Flynn, Jr., and he's running for U.S. Senate in the state of Connecticut. I want to address you now about that flag that you see behind me. That when I was a young person, graduating from grammar school, we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance every day. It has become very problematical that young people today will be allowed to say the Pledge of Allegiance because it contains a couple of key words. One, belief in God and belief in liberty and justice for all. It's very difficult now for anybody to profess belief in God without being criticized by our democratic elected personnel. And as far as liberty and justice goes, liberty is very limited. The government wants to dictate what we do, what we say, where we go, and what kind of medications we take and how regularly we take them. This is not liberty.
Call you back.
As far as justice is concerned, justice has been greatly affected, greatly diminished by what appears to be a cabal of lawyers and judges who are collaborating to steal people's property here in Connecticut. Who would believe that it could ever happen?
It's happening every day.
Who would believe that could happen in America, where this is the home of the brave? On the contrary, lately the Democrats have been conceding to terrorism, receding from Afghanistan, from all of these other countries where we've been involved in protecting the people, and we've been in a situation of withdrawal and subjection to liberal bias.
Hey, what happened with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's speeches?
Kamala Harris recently made a speech where she declared that January 6th was equivalent to Pearl Harbor as far as a damaging, dangerous condition.
Hold on a second.
Could you believe we were bombed at Pearl Harbor, and they're comparing a bunch of patriotic people who went to Washington to protest as being equivalent to that kind of disaster.
Ashley Babbitt is a patriot.
Ashley Babbitt, God bless her soul, was killed because she had the temerity to ask a question. She was shot.
Pop, let me ask you a question. Ready? What about the people being detained for a year?
Those people from January 6th have been incarcerated for over a year. They're being treated in conditions that are worse than a convicted murderer suspect would be convicted of.
Hold on a second.
There's been no trial. There's
no
been
arraignment.
Adjudication, and no arraignment for allegedly attending a patriotic rally.
Where they were allowed right in.
This is a dangerous situation, ladies and gentlemen.
May I interrupt? Look at what Black Lives Matter did across the country. Burning American businesses. Look at Antifa. So I must add that my opponent, Richard Blumenthal, is getting funded by Act Blue, funded by Black Lives Matter, funded by Antifa, and I say to you, the Christmas massacre was a Black Lives Matter member who drove over and killed many and wounded 50, including the dancing grannies. Don't you like the dancing grannies, Grandpa?
I'm a grandfather myself. I do like grannies. I'm very partial to elderly people. They are wise, and perhaps maybe they're not as outspoken as we should be. But there is a serious condition happening now in this country. The Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party that it was when I was a young man.
No.
The Democratic Party that your parents were involved with back in the 50s and the 60s is not the same Democratic Party.
The Republicans are closer to JFK than the Democrats ever were, because the radical left is forcing us into socialism, communism, and the total abandonment of your property rights because they think they're smarter than you and know how to manage your life.
And that's what's going on in this country right now. They're trying to manage our lives. What happened to the word liberty? What happened to the concept that a person, an American taxpayer, has the right to decide his own destiny?
What about due
and not
process?
be dictated to by a government agency?
What about due process? Is the court dealing out justice?
Well, the court is a very large term. The fact of the matter is, the Democrats have incarcerated more than 100 people for over a year without due process, without the ability to even communicate with their people.
Who visited them?
There was only one woman who had the courage to go in and visit them, and that was Congresswoman Green.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
God bless her.
Grandpa's biggest, he's the biggest donor in Connecticut, but he is her favorite.
I think she's got the spunk that's needed, and I wish that there were more people like her. Hopefully we'll encourage the development of new candidates, new people in Congress, including my son John, who has the courage and the conviction to do the right thing and to oppose this terrible infringement on our liberty and on our right of justice that we're guaranteed under the Constitution of our United States.
So we're writing a speech for an event on the 14th, and I keep writing it, and he says, "Oh no, you got to be more upbeat." Really? Because when you leave that speech, they got to carry you out of there on their shoulders. And you know what? It's hard to write a speech knowing what I know. I have a file that would choke a horse.
Yes, but you have to put your best foot forward, and you have to encourage young people to vote and to work in politics, to speak their minds and to oppose this nonsense that's going on.
Oh, yes. So my son, John, who's the 9th, 8th, 7th, well, that's what we say. My great aunt called me John Flynn the 23rd because she thinks we go back to Christ, but the fact remains, my son was the only conservative in his class in Norwalk, Connecticut. Yeah, and he's a straight A student. He ran the NASCAR team at Villanova. They came in first place in the world. They came in second place in his senior year in the world. Grandpa was a swimmer for Villanova. And the fact remains, we have to take it and teach, because what's happening in the schools and parental rights, we need to teach the youth of America about this missing information that makes you an American. The Americans can't be stopped unless, of course, they're undermined.
No, they're misinformed. But I'll tell you, one great breakthrough in truth happened earlier this fall when it was revealed that the schools had been teaching this race theory against the wishes of the parents. And the government actually came out and said the parents have no business advising or demanding that teachers teach what they want. That's a lot of nonsense. Parents have every right to determine how their children are educated. And if their children are being educated with a lot of corruption and nonsense that is diametrically opposed to their own beliefs, parents have a right to object, and they have a right to vote these social conservatives, these social elitists out of office, and that includes the teachers and the principals of their local school if they don't understand that the parents have a right to determine what their children are taught.
It's not just indoctrination. For example, my grammar school failed last year, St. Patrick's Church in Bedford Village, New York. My high school failed last year, Trinity Catholic in Stamford, Connecticut. Let me say something. Now that they were so short-sighted that they allowed Trinity Catholic to fail, those 1,600 students that received a Catholic education now have to go to Stanford High, West Hill High, Rippewam High, and guess what? The entire bill now is on the city of Stanford. So think about that. They wouldn't subsidize Catholic schools with a penny, so now they have to pay $20,000 per person annually in your taxes. And you know what? You have a right to teach your kids about abortion, about facts that matter, about all types of educational issues when you want to protect your own family. It's about your family rights. It's about you paying the taxes for your kids while you pay the taxes that pay everyone else's education. In other words, the Catholics pay for their own taxes and their own kids' education. Why wouldn't you allow religion? Think about it. Think about why you would be willing to pay for everyone's college, everyone's high school, and then on the side pay for your own kids' education without their influence. Oh, it's gigantic.
Let me just conclude by saying, when we say the Pledge of Allegiance, we say, I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, for which this one country, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It isn't indivisible anymore, and it has no liberty and justice anymore. When are you going to wake up, people? When are you going to realize what's happening? Do something about this, please.
Thank you. Listen to Grandpa. He's Yoda from the rebel forces, and he knows.
Cut it. Cut it.
Okay, ready? Where's the clicker? I need the clicker. Thanks, Pop. Have a great day. Thank you, Connecticut. Flynn 2022. We got to talk about the issues. Please Please comment and share. Thank you. No, wait, tell them to please comment and share.
No, just cut
all
it.
the